Hello and welcome to another episode of the wonderful world of old sheet music. I am your host, Nicholas Carroll. Tonight, we are looking at a piece called April Showers, which I saved specifically for today because it is April 1st when I'm recording this. This song is quite famous. Some of you may have heard it. It's been recorded many times. I don't actually know how it sounds. I have heard of it. I will say that, but I have not actually heard it. So this is a piece that's been in many different things. So I'm going to discuss a little bit about the original. The original version as written in 1921, and that's the edition here that I do have that. And this is music by Louis Silvers. The words are by B.G. De Silva. Can't find a whole lot about B.G. De Silva. I did find a little bit about Louis Silvers, who wrote several famous musicals at the time. And this originally was from a musical. However, as you can tell from the cover art here, there's this big thing that says the Jolson story. So there was a singer in the 20s named Al Jolson. He was the self-proclaimed greatest entertainer of all time. That is an actual thing he called himself. And he was quite popular. And he was on Broadway. He was the original person to sing this on the original Broadway version. He became popular for lots of other songs too. And this movie, the Jolson story, was made about his life. So that's what this picture is about, though this is not originally what the song April Showers is from. So clearly this Al Jolson is being played up much more than the composers, which is still the case many times today. We have a lot of famous people who sing songs, and of course the person who wrote the song is teeny tiny, if even credited on the front sometimes. And that's just the way marketing tends to go. And of course there's even people who co-write songs and they get top billing, and they're working on a songwriting team, and like the other people never get much credit. So this is a good example of even back in the 20s, he didn't get much attention, but this guy who sang it got a lot of attention. So maybe that helped sell the copies of the sheet music at the time. Of course, people today, at least most people I would talk to, have never heard of Al Jolson. I had not. I looked him up, did some research, and unfortunately, his claim to fame, and you'll find this if you look him up, is that he was the quote-unquote king of vaudeville blackface. So he was like the main person doing that, and using these African-American songs and doing blackface. Because according to the research I did, according to the books that have studied this, like a white audience wouldn't listen to these songs, even though they're great songs, unless they were delivered by somebody who was already famous, and they, thought, oh, well, I'll do blackface and then it'll be authentic. So, of course, we have a lot of discussion of that nowadays, and a lot of the articles you can find about this Al Jolson are kind of conflicting. You even have some black historians saying that, he did a lot to promote that type of music, but it's also not okay at the same time. So it's kind of a mixed bag of opinions on that. So that's the deal with him. If you look him up, I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because it's not right to promote someone without bringing up that that is something that he did. So to get back to it, for my purposes as a composer, songwriter, pianist myself, I am obviously more interested in the composer of the music and the lyrics than I am the person who sang it anyway. So let's go to the lyrics next. From what I read, this person was a Lithuanian American, B.G. De Silva, who immigrated to the United States, and a lot of the composers we've been talking about immigrated from somewhere, moved to New York and became Tin Pan Alley composers or lyricists. So this guy is no different. And here are the lyrics to April Showers. Life is not a highway strewn with flowers, still it holds a goodly share of bliss. When the sun gives way to April showers, here's the point that you should never miss. Though April showers may come your way, they bring the flowers that bloom in May. So if it's raining, have no regrets, because it isn't raining rain, you know, it's raining violets. And where you see clouds upon the hills, you soon will see crowds of daffodils. So keep on looking for a bluebird and listening for his song whenever April showers come along. Verse 2 is, I have learned to smile when skies are gloomy, smile although my heart's about to break. When I know that trouble's coming to me, here's the happy attitude I take. Though April showers may come your way, they bring the flowers that bloom in May. So if it's raining, have no regrets, because it isn't raining rain, you know, it's raining violets. And where you see clouds upon the hills, you soon will see crowds of daffodils. So keep on looking for a bluebird and listening for his song whenever April showers come along. And that is the end there. So it kind of has this extra repeat and then an ending. So that is how the words end, though. All right. Of note, when I'm reading through here, I think this is interesting. This is the first thing, and this is not the newest thing I've done. I've done some pieces that are from the 40s and pieces that are from more recent times. This is from 1921, but this is the first piece of music I've looked at, of sheet music, that actually has a copyright warning that any person who shall willfully copy the words or music of this song or any portion thereof shall be liable to criminal prosecution under the United States copyright law. That's pretty standard thing, that you see a version of that on every single piece of music that you buy nowadays, but this is the first one I've seen amongst the sheet music, so that's kind of interesting. So maybe that's just indicative of the fact that this was such a big song in that time. It was such a big hit. So this was published by Harms of New York, which is, of course, the Tin Pan Alley Publishing Company. I had mentioned that briefly before. So, without further ado, let me play April Showers for you. Just a reminder, I don't know how this sounds, and I have not played it before, so if you do, sorry, I'm doing my best. So I noticed as I was playing that this is a piece that doesn't have a whole lot of the melody, the lyric melody or the vocal melody in the piano part. So I played through it twice. I did the repeat just on the refrain. I didn't go back and redo the verse. So some of the melody on the verse wouldn't have been present when I played that. A lot of it was just kind of piano chords that were not really matching the melody. And when I noticed that, I did repeat that so you could hear some of the melody as well as the accompaniment part. So a little bit of a mixture of both then. I jumped around a little bit there. But it does have this kind of innocuous kind of sound that you expect from these types of songs. A lot of them talk about having over sentimentality if you read articles about this style of music, and you can definitely see that in the sound and the lyrics both. So that is April Showers.